The aviation market is heavily leveraged to the GDP, to the economy and the GDP. And India is the fastest growing large economy, and is going to stay on that trajectory for a long time. If the economy grows at 7.5% as the forecasts say, aviation, what we have seen, the leverage is a factor of almost two emerging markets. So we should be growing at 14-15% for at least the next decade. So we see a lot of growth still there. Like you mentioned, the penetration of air travel is still very low. It is probably 1/3 to 1/5 of other emerging markets like Indonesia, China, Brazil. So there is still a lot of headroom to grow. And new segments are emerging which are driving this growth. So for instance, the Indian outbound market, there are 100 million passports, 10 million passports, 10, 12 million passports being issued every year. And the Indian traveler is looking at more options outside. So while we are broad basing the network from the low-cost airline perspective, we are also looking at new market segments which are emerging. So going beyond the traditional segments that we serve. Domestic touristic outbound is one important segment. SME, VFR, so many segments to be addressed.
So the demand clearly going to be there. However, what about the logistics and the shortages that we're seeing both in pilots but also in planes? You may have the people that want to fly, but will you have the actual aircraft itself in order to capture this demand?
So, as a group and as a country, we are sitting on some of the largest orders in aviation history. To the point about, how do you equip yourself to, manage this growth, it's certainly a challenge, and we are building that, ground up. So at a group level, we are in fact establishing a world-class, training center which will fuel the demand for pilots, engineers, management staff. There is also a lot of infrastructure which is coming up. So in the last decade, the number of airports have doubled, almost 150 airports today. So the supply side factors are also going to play a part in the growth story of the future. This year itself, we are going to see 2 greenfield airports come up in the natural hubs of Delhi and Mumbai. So a lot of opportunity there, a lot of growth coming, but there is also a lot of infrastructure which is getting built, capacity is getting built to support this growth.
Yes. And last week we did hear Air India CEO Campbell Wilson saying that he's decided not to exercise the option to buy the additional Boeing, at least for now. Will this trickle down and affect the growth of your airline as well?
So, the issues with Boeing are well known. It has caused delays to, our fleet induction as it has to many other airlines in the world. We are talking to them, engaged with them, and looking at ways to mitigate it. But yes, certainly it has impacted, the potential growth and the induction of fleet to support that growth.